This is the lesson for algebra for 6-3 and 6-4. What you're talking about today are word problems, all right? Your learning target, I can set up and solve systems of equations, both algebraically and graphically. It really all depends on the problem situation. If you're going to solve it algebraically or graphically, sometimes it's a combination of both. So if you take a look at question number 1, Jason and Jerry are competing at a weightlifting competition. They are both lifting barbells containing 200 pounds of plates, which are weights that you put on the end of a barbell. Jason's barbell has 4 large and 10 small plates on it. Jerry's barbell has 6 large and 5 small plates on it. How much does each large plate and each small plate weigh? So what you need to do first is you need to set up your system of equations. We have 2 different things here. We have large plates and we have small plates. So we have large and small, large and small. So I'm going to use S for small, and I'm going to use L for large. Make sure that you use a lowercase s so your S doesn't look like a 5. Make sure that you use an uppercase L so your L doesn't look like a 1. So when you go to set up your equation, just read the sentences. Jason's barbell has 4 large and 10 small plates on it. So 4 large would be 4L, 10 small would be plus 10S, and that equals 200 pounds of weights. Jerry's barbell has 6 large, so 6L, and 5 small, 5S. And that equals 200 pounds as well. So there's a couple different ways that you could do this one. I would just solve the system by creating opposites. 4 doesn't go into 6 evenly, so I'm not going to choose to make opposites with my L's, but 5 goes into 10 evenly. So to create the opposite of 10, I would need a negative 10. So I'm going to multiply this bottom equation by -2. Distribute, distribute, distribute. So now I didn't touch that top equation. All I'm going to do is rewrite it. This bottom equation, -2 times 6L is -12L. -2 times 5S is a -10S. And -2 times 200 is -400. So now I have my opposites. Since I have my opposites, I can just add going down. So these 10s will cancel out. 4 plus -12 is -8L. Bring down my equal sign. 200 plus -400 is -200. Divide by -8. Divide by -8. And we get that L equals 25. So a large plate is 25 pounds. Now you have your choice. You can take your L equals 25 and we could sub it into here or here, wherever the L is. Whichever equation looks easier to you, that's the one that you should sub it into. So I think the top equation is a little bit easier. So 4 times L, instead of 4 times L, I'm going to have 4 times 25 plus 10S equals 200. And now I'm just going to solve that. I need to multiply these together to be 100. Now just solve the 2-step equation. So -100 minus 100. So you get 10S equals 100. Divide by 10s, and you get that S equals 10. So a small plate was 10, a large plate was 25. This one, it really doesn't pay to graph it at all. You're not really going to gain anything by graphing it. Take a look at the second one. Rachel needs to print some of her digital photos. She is trying to choose between lightning fast photo and snappy shots. Lightning Fast Photo charges a base fee of $5 plus an additional 20 cents per photo. Snappy Shots charges a base fee of $7 plus an additional 10 cents per photo. Determine the number of photos for which both stores will charge the same amount. What they're talking about here with charging the same amount, that is your break-even point. That's where the two are equal to each other. Then it also says, explain which store Rachel should choose depending on the numbers of photos she's going to print. So with lightning fast photo, right? I'm going to abbreviate lightning fast photo, LFF. It says that lightning fast photo charges $5 plus 20 cents per photo. So I'm going to set up my equation as y equals, it's 20 cents per photo, so 20 cents times x plus your $5. Snappy Shots, and I'm just going to abbreviate it SS, charges 10 cents per photo, so 0.10x plus $7. So the first thing that we want to do, you can see that both of them are linear. Both of them are set equal to y. We need to figure out the break-even point. We want to know when they're equal to each other. So we're going to set the one equation equal to the other equation. And now we're going to solve for x. So I would subtract 0.10x from both sides. And we get 0.10x plus 5 equals 7, minus 5 minus 5. So we have 0.10x equals 2, divide by 0.10, and we get that x equals 20. Now that 20 is really 20 photos. That's the break-even point, all right? That's your break-even point. If you buy 20 photos from each store, it's going to cost the same exact amount. Now, if you go to type it into your calculator, there's my two equations. And if I go to graph it, right? If I go to graph it, it looks like that. You can't really see much. You might have to zoom out. And you can see that there is a break-even point there. There's an intersection point. We could actually figure that out. Second calc, and then number 5 for intersection. Enter, enter, enter. And it gives you that break-even point. Notice that x is 20, the same thing that we got algebraically. So we could, all right, we could graph this and figure it out from the graph, all right? We have 0 here. Now, these two numbers, right? These two numbers are your y-intercepts, right? That's where the line crosses the y-axis. We just know that because in a normal line, that's your y-intercept. So we're going to have one y-intercept at 5, one y-intercept at 7. Notice where my break-even point is. My break-even point is at 9. So I'm going to put a 9 here as well. All right. Let's say that 20 photos was here. So I know that my break-even point is right there at over to 20 up to 9. I'm starting with lightning fast photos at 5. I know that I have to go through that break-even point. So I'm going to draw my line for lightning fast photos looking like that. For snappy shots, it starts off at 7. And again, I know that I need to go through that break-even point. So it's going to look like this, and this is snappy shots. Now, what this graph tells me, all right, what this graph tells me, and I can do the same thing from the table, all right, we'll talk about that in a second. But what this graph tells me is explain which store Rachel should choose depending on the numbers of photos she needs to print. Well, you want the better deal. You want the one that costs less. You want the one that costs less. So where on this graph does it cost less? Well, anywhere between 0 and 20, all right? If it's less than 20, this is your better deal. It's less cost. It's your lower part on the graph. But then after 20, after the break-even point, all of a sudden, this is the better deal. So before 20, right? So let's write this down. So to answer the question, which store should she choose depending on the numbers of photos? Again, you want the lower amount, all right? You want the lower amount because you want to pay less for the same exact thing. So our lower amount is right here. If you're going to purchase less than 20 photos, you want to use lightning fast photo. If you're going to purchase more than 20 photos, you're going to use snappy shots. If you're going to buy exactly 20, it doesn't matter because they're the same price. You want the lower part on the graph. Now, I talked about the table. You can also look at the table and sort of figure some things out from the table. This first one is the lightning fast photo. The second one is the snappy shots. Notice how your Y1 column is less than your Y2, all the way from 0 all the way to 20, right? When we get to 20, notice that they're equal. We have 9 and 9. That's your break-even point. You can look at your table and see where they're equal to each other. And then once we get past 20, notice what happens. Notice now my first column is higher than my second column. So now the better deal, the lower price, is the second one, which is snappy shots. Take a look at the next one. June received 2 different job offers to become a real estate agent. Dream Homes offered June a base salary of $20,000 per year, plus a 2% commission on all real estate sold. Amazing Homes offered June a base salary of $25,000 per year, plus a 1% commission. When you earn commission, it's based on the amount that you sell. The more money that you sell in products, or in this case, homes, the more extra money that you get. That salary is guaranteed money, but then the commission you make, it's sort of like bonus money. So determine the amount of real estate sales in dollars for which both real estate companies will pay June the same amount. This is your break-even point. And then we have explain which offer June should accept based on the amount of real estate she expects to have. So Dream Homes, right? Dream Homes, $20,000 a year plus a 2% commission. Now, 2% as a decimal, we got to move the decimal point over 2 places. So for Dream Homes, it's really Y equals 0.02x plus the 20,000. For Amazing Homes, it is a 1% commission. Move your decimal point over 2 places. So we have 0.01x plus $25,000 in salary. First thing that we need to do is calculate the break-even point. We want to set these 2 things equal to each other. So when we go to solve it, you have letters on both sides. I'm going to subtract 0.01x from both sides. So 0.01x plus 20,000 equals 25,000. Minus 20,000 minus 20,000. So 0.01x equals 5,000. Divide by 0.01, divide by 0.01, and we get a break-even point of 500,000. So if she sells $500,000 worth of real estate, that is when she's going to make the same exact amount of money from both companies. If we go to graphic, right? If we go to graphic, let's go to our Y equals, let's clear out our previous 2 equations, and we need to type in these new equations. So 0.02x plus 20,000 And we also have 0.01x plus 25,000. If we go to graph it, we don't see it. All right, these are really, really big numbers. We'd have to keep on zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. Let's go to our table. All right, let's go to our table. We don't want to count by, all right, we don't want to count by, we don't want to count by ones. We're looking for 500,000. So I'm going to hit my plus sign to change what I count by. All right, and I'm going to actually, hold on. I need to go to 0. There we go. Now hit the plus sign, and I'm going to count by 100,000s. Not going to let me do that. Well, that's fine. All right, we don't need to do that. So anyway, 500,000 is our break-even point. Right, 500,000 is our break-even point. Your y-intercepts. Your y-intercepts are 20,000 and 25,000. So when we go to graph it, so 20,000, we'll just estimate 20,000 is here. Your sketches don't have to be perfect. And let's say that our break-even point is up here, right? So we know that for dream homes, it has to go like this, up through it, right? This is dream homes. And for amazing homes is at 25,000. Oops, I don't want to do it that high. And dream homes is 25,000. So that has to go through there. And this is amazing homes. So notice what is happening here. Now in this one, explain which offer June should accept based on the real estate sales that he expects to have. You want the higher amount, all right? You want the higher amount. So you want this part of the graph because you want to make the most money possible. So you want the higher part of the graph and the higher part of the graph. So you want the higher amount, all right? You want the higher. You want the higher amount because you want to make the most money possible. So if we sell less than $500,000 worth of homes, you would want to work for amazing homes. If we sell more than 500,000, we want to work for dream homes. All right, I got the table to work. Second in table, I'm not sure what I was doing wrong, but hit the plus sign. We count by 100,000s. Now you can see it in the table. We can see our break-even point. 50,000 is 30,000. So this is where 30,000 would be. That's our break-even point. So that's where our two things are going through. That's where they're equal to each other. You can see that in the table. 500,000 is 30,000 and 30,000. Notice that the first line, which is dream homes in the blue, is less than our amazing homes in the red, all the way up to our break-even point, and then all of a sudden the dream homes is more. So you can figure it out from the table as well. Taking a look at the last question. Stella is trying to choose between two rental car companies. Speedy Trip Rental Cars charges a base fee of $24 plus an additional fee of 5 cents per mile. Wheels Deals Rental Cars charges a base fee of $30 plus an additional fee of 3 cents per mile. So in both of those companies, you are paying a flat fee plus some number of dollars per mile. So every mile that you go, you get charged an extra 5 cents or an extra 3 cents. Determine the amount of miles driven for which both rental cars companies charge the same amount. Again, charge the same amount. That is your break-even point. And then explain which company Stella should use based on the number of miles she wants to drive. Well, you want to pay less for the same exact thing. So you want to pay the lower amount. But the first thing that we need to do is set up our equations. So we have Speedy Trip rental cars. Speedy Trip rental cars charges 5 cents per mile. So 0.05x plus 24. And Wheels Deals rental car company charges 3 cents per mile plus $30. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to find the break-even point. So we want to set these two things equal to each other. And solve. So minus 0.03x from both sides. Solve the two-step equation. So minus 24 and minus 24. And so 6 divided by 0.02 is 300. So after 300, and this is miles, after 300 miles, they are exactly the same. So let's type in our equations into our y equals. And we could hit second and table. Now, when we hit second and table, remember, we need to change what we're counting by, all right? We don't want to count by 100,000. We're not going to go 100,000 miles in a rental car. So hit the plus sign. Let's clear that out. Let's count by, I don't know, let's count by maybe 100s, all right? Because I can see that 300 is my break-even point. And this is, again, just an estimate, all right? So looking at this, you can see that the first column is lower all the way up to 300. 300 is your break-even point. Notice we have 39 and 39. So the first column, which is Speedy Trip, is less than the red column, which is Wheels Deals, all the way up to that 39 and 39. But after that, the other one is Wheels Deals is the cheaper one. If we go to graphic, so our break-even point is 300 miles. We have our y-intercepts, right? Our y-intercepts are 24 and 30. So I'm just going to say 24 is there, 30 is here. Our break-even point is 39. So I'm going to put 39 up here. I know that my break-even point is right there. Both of those have to go right through it. So for Speedy Trip, I'm going to start here at my y-intercept and go up right through it. That is Speedy Trip. And starting for Wheels Deals, I'm starting there and going like this. This is Wheels Deals. So again, we want the lower amounts. So we want this part and this part because you want to pay less for your rental car. You don't want to pay more. You want to pay more for your rental car. You want to pay less. So you want the lower amount. So you want the lower amount. So if it is less than 300 miles, you want this one, which is Speedy Trip. And if it is more than 300, which is this amount, you want Wheels Deals. And again, you can see that in your table as well. You really have to make sure that you pay attention to what the question is asking you for. Is it asking you for the lower amount or is it asking you for the upper amount, the higher amount?